Welcome to Talkin Tullahoma. I'm your host, Jamie Treadwell, and in the studio with me today is David Hess. You might recognize David. Welcome, David.
Thanks. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're a Tullahoma local, but that's not why you're here today. You're here to promote something else. I actually happen to have this on in case people weren't aware of what you're currently doing.
Yep. It's exciting. It's a really, cool opportunity, and it's nice to get to come back to town and get to see a lot of familiar faces and, just kind of get to catch up with people and remember where you came from.
Exactly. Now, you're actually here to promote an event that we're going to talk about towards the end here. So it's always wonderful to see people come back and give back to the community that raised up such a fine young man as yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So for those that don't know, which I can't imagine they don't, but somebody like myself who's not from around here, let's talk a little bit about how this all started. Now, you play for the Orioles now, and they, how does that go? You said they called you up because you were with the Bowie Bay Sox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of the timeline of everything for me, I grew up in Tullahoma, went to Tullahoma High School, then I went to Tennessee Tech, played for 3 years there, went to school, and then from there I went to the Orioles. They called me in 2014, and I got drafted that year. And then since then I've just been working my way up through the minor leagues, and I got to play in Bowie in 2015, then also again in 2016, so it was a good time. We enjoyed it.
So now there's been some glimpses of your greatness throughout, because when you played for Tullahoma, you were a pretty good player then. We're going to pop that up. There you are on the mound. See, look at that. That determination as a great pitcher too. So this didn't just happen overnight, and you downplayed a lot of that because when you were at Tennessee Tech, you got Louisville Slugger National Player of the Week. Now that's sponsored by a newspaper. How do they determine that?
Some of that, I don't know how they decide. I mean, I don't know how they quite pick a guy at a small school, as opposed to a guy at the bigger SEC or ACC schools. But I mean, I remember that week, and I had a good week. I threw a couple games, and then I pitched on a weekend and had one of my better games in my career at Tech. And so the next week, our coach called me and he was telling me about it, and it's like, I don't really know why they picked me, though. I'm sure somebody had a better game than I did.
Well, see, I think you're downplaying yourself. Obviously, they saw that spark in you back then.
Yeah.
And then, so from Tennessee Tech, you were there, and how did you get to the Bay Sox? I mean, were you still in college when they?
So yeah, when kind of the process is for the draft is you have to be a junior or 21 years old. So you can't just go in kind of the way basketball does it. You can't just hop in and then hop right out. And so I went in there and I had 3 years under my belt, and I knew that there was a possibility of me getting drafted. And so draft day came around, and so we're just, kind of sitting around. I talked to pretty much every team and had a lot of scouts that I was in contact with. And so at the time, the Orioles weren't even one of the teams that really had talked to me much. And so I was pretty much for sure that it was going to be the Padres that were going to be picking me. I was talking to their guys, and they were really interested, it seemed. And then just kind of out of the blue, the Orioles, popped up and said that, David Hess selected by the Baltimore Orioles. And we were all just kind of surprised. It was such I guess just a mix of emotions, because we were shocked and excited and just happy all at the same time. But then, I mean, it just from there, it really just took off. You hit the ground running from the day that they called my name on draft day. We finalized all the paperwork and everything, and within the week. And so probably a week and a half after that, I was on a plane heading up to Baltimore with my mom and dad for an introduction up there. And then from there, I flew down to Florida to get going with my professional career. And then we kind of chipped away. I started that season in short season, which is just where a lot of the college guys will go. I made the All-Star team there, so that was a really big honor, and that was a lot of fun. And then I ended up finishing that year in low A, which is Delmarva for us. And then the next year I started in Frederick, and I didn't start out so great, but I finished on a pretty good note. and progressively got a little better. And so then they called me up to Bowie that year, and we ended up winning the Eastern League Championship. So that was a lot of fun to kind of, in such a short time span, get to such a high level. And then from there, just kept working and found my way up to Baltimore.
Now, when you went to Bowie, you were still 21?
Yeah,
Okay.
that first year I was.
So you're downplayed it again because that year that you were talking about that they did so well, you also got Pitcher of the Week then too.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I guess I'm just periodically would have really good weeks.
I think you're just very humble.
No, but no, I mean, yeah, they, there was a couple times that, I had some good weeks on the mound, and so, we went out there and made it work and had a good time with that, and, we got a couple wins, and really that's what matters most is, to me, whether I'm getting the accolades or not, as long as our team's winning, that's really what I'm most focused on.
So this wasn't your first shot with the Orioles? You actually played for the Orioles here in Tullahoma, didn't you?
Yep, I did. Yeah, that was my Little League team, and, we laughed about it when the Orioles drafted me because, like I said, I didn't really have a lot of contact with them up until that point. But then we just kind of looked back, and hindsight's 2020, and we were like, we should have known at that point that something was going to happen now. But yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, your 8-year-old self should have told you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, we're going to the big league.
Exactly.
Speaking of going to the big league and your 8-year-old self, so let's talk about that day when you were standing there at Fenway Park. Just describe that for us.
Yeah, so it was just a cold, dreary Boston day, exactly what you would imagine, early in the year. But I was a little bit more excited than probably anybody else that was in that city on that day. They called me and said, hey, they called me the night before, and I knew there was kind of a possibility just the way that things had kind of shaped up. And so, got everything set up, talked to my parents, and got everything situated for travel arrangements for people to come. And so I get to Fenway Park, and I'm first off thinking how crazy that is that, I'm actually walking into Fenway Park to play. And so I go into the clubhouse, get, dressed, and I'm seeing all these guys. I mean, I'm, walking just past Adam Jones and Chris Davis and Manny Machado, and I mean, guys that are all-stars and very well known. I'm like, okay, these are my teammates right now. And so then I get to go out on the field and get warmed up and play catch. And that was, I mean, you're looking around seeing Fenway Park and the stadium starting to fill up with fans, and it's a pretty surreal experience. And then I was in the bullpen that game, and so sitting down in the bullpen and just seeing what's happening in front of you, and it doesn't hit you until afterwards that actually happened. So I mean, it was such a cool experience, and I'm really happy that was able to happen. I wish I could have pitched that day, but the way everything lined up was pretty good.
It was. Well, we're going to take a commercial. When we get back, we're going to talk about the first day you pitched.
Absolutely.
So stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is your internet service at 10 meg speeds. This is internet service at gigabit. No other local provider can match this level of speed. Call us today to get the world's fastest internet.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Does your family love to stream movies and use multiple Wi-Fi enabled devices? But are you finding out that your run-of-the-mill router simply can't keep up? Don't worry, LightTube has you covered with our internet router service for only $9.95 per month. Get back to what your family loves doing. Call us today at 455-4515 to learn more.
You wanna dance?
Check out Stingray Music on TV. Now available, the new Stingray Music mobile app. Free with your TV subscription. Stingray Music, all good vibes.
Welcome back to Talkin Tullahoma. Well, Dave, when we left, you were telling us a little bit about the first time you pitched, but you didn't get to that day at Fenway. Of course, it was kind of cold, so you might be glad.
Yeah. No, so like I said, I didn't get to pitch that day, but that was just, a cool experience. You get kind of acclimated to everything. So I ended up getting sent back down to the minor leagues after that because just the way everything lined up. But I ended up just about a week or 2 weeks later getting called up to make my debut in Baltimore against Tampa Bay. And that was a blast. That was a little bit more organized, I guess, but it kind of threw a wrinkle in plans a little bit because my wife was actually graduating that weekend. So it kind of made the travel aspect a little hectic, but it kind of worked out because everybody was already going to West Virginia for that. So it just made a little detour. But I mean, it was, the team had a lot of fun with that. I know everybody came. We probably had 35 or 40 people there because everyone was already coming for my wife's graduation, and so
They just circled around.
Exactly. And so
she didn't mind that you stole her.
No. She we joked around though beforehand. A couple days before I had gotten called up, and we were looking ahead, and we were like, "This would make sense if you got called up to start on this day," and we were both like, "Oh no, that would probably just make too much sense." And sure enough, it happened, and so we had a laugh about that. But I mean, it was a lot of fun because I got to go out there, and our team got the win that day. So I got to knock out a lot of firsts. I got first strikeout, first win, just first start, all the things that come along with that. But I mean, it was a blast. There was obviously the jitters just going into it, but once I got settled in, it was good, and I think it kind of fit like a glove in a sense.
It's good to win on your first time out, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Especially because, we had a tough time last year as a team, and so I think that looking back at it and seeing how, just how cool of a thing that was, that here's a guy making his big league debut on a team that was struggling, and we found a way to win that day. And I pitched against a guy that's been a multiple-time All-Star, and so to out-pitch him in a sense on my first start, I think that really, kind of put a good taste in everyone's mouth going forward.
That is. Now, you're in Maryland, but you get to come home every now and then. You're based out of South Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just got a house in Greenville, South Carolina, so we've spent a lot of the off-season getting that situated and fixed up, and we've really enjoyed it so far.
So, and she's getting to travel with you right now.
Yep, absolutely. She's, like I said, she just graduated in May, and so this season will be her first real full season. But we're excited about that. We're excited for her to get to come to spring training and get the full effect of that, and then to be able to go with me during the season and, just kind of be a part of everything. And I know that's exciting for her as much as it is for me.
That'll be great for you as a couple, too.
Yes, absolutely.
No children yet. Y'all are still a couple, so
Yep. We're able to do everything, so.
So now you played on June 24th. You played the Braves here, not here, but south of here in Atlanta, where I'm from.
Yep.
So, and you had a big outpouring of people come out then.
Yeah. That was
a huge turnout.
Just keeping up with everybody, and I feel like every day leading up to that, I'd hear from a couple new people that were coming, and so that was, just to get the support and just the backing from everyone coming to the game, and just not just on that day, but throughout the whole season. But I feel like that was kind of the culmination of everything, because it was pretty well accessible for most people to get to. But that just the support and just the encouragement that came from it, because I didn't pitch well that day, And so just to be able to step away and realize that people didn't come to see me pitch well, they just came to see me, that meant a lot to me. And I think that kind of, it just shows you that there is something greater than baseball at hand. And so that, I think that just says a lot about the town and a lot about the relationships that have been made here and people that I've come in contact with. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful for that. We had a good time down there.
You may not have pitched as well as you think you could have, but I bet the dugouts were nicer than Fenway.
Yeah, they were a little bigger. SunTrust Park's a really nice one. They did it well.
So you don't get it all.
No.
You know, some days you get a good pitch and,
Exactly.
and a bad dugout.
Exactly.
It all balances out.
It does.
So now you're here to promote an event. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Yeah, so it was probably back in September. I got a phone call. Just, you know, I was at the field, so I couldn't answer, and I had a voicemail just saying, hey, this is, you know, so-and-so with Tullahoma. Can you give me a call back? And so, okay, yeah. And then I have 2 voicemails from my dad saying, you need to call him back right now. And so I ended up, you know, getting in touch with everyone, and they said that they wanted to retire my number at the high school. And so I was like, well, that's awesome. Of course, you know, I'd love to be there for that. And they're like, well, there's also our benefit dinner, the auction, and, you know, something that I was a part of when I was in high school. They're like, we'd also really like to have you as a speaker. And my first response was, are you sure that you don't know anybody else that's a better speaker? But they were like, no, we'd really love to have you come. You know, just can you let us know if you can make it? And so I kind of checked around, made sure all the pieces fit, and so sure enough, everything progressed, and we're here, and it's, you know, it's working out. And yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to get up there and hopefully make some people laugh and send them out the door feeling good about themselves. But I think it's going to be a good time, and it's always great to be able to be a part of something going on in the town, and especially with the baseball team. So it's going to be a really good event, I think. A lot of people are excited about it, and I mean, the community turnout's been awesome. I know, talking to Heather Tucker, that's the Booster Club president, she said this is the most tickets that they've sold for any of the dinners ever. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, because those people might walk out of the door thinking that I'm a little crazier than when they walked in.
Well,
but
I think it's probably like when you said they came down to support you in
Yeah.
Atlanta. But they're
Yeah.
there to see you,
Yep.
see you pitch great. So even if your jokes aren't that funny.
yeah.
But, you know, this is, for them, it's like that moment for you, you know, at Fenway. There's a little bit of surrealism. You're bringing a little bit of the magic. You know, you made it to the show.
Yeah.
You're bringing that back to them, and
Yep.
those kids are like, hey, that could be me one day.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny you say that, because I actually was saying yesterday, I do remember sitting there when I was in high school and Brian Morris was up there speaking. I remember thinking it's crazy that he was here and he was sitting in the same position as me, and now he's on stage, and now I'm, you know, it's kind of flip-flopped.
It's
I know,
gone full circle.
Yeah, and so it's really exciting for me to get to be able to get up there and just kind of see everybody. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
You may inspire the next David Hess tonight. Who
Maybe,
knows?
we'll see.
All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial, and we'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
This is your internet service at 10 meg speeds. This is internet service at gigabit. No other local provider can match this level of speed. Call us today to get the world's fastest internet.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard, beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Does your family love to stream movies and use multiple Wi-Fi enabled devices? But are you finding out that your run-of-the-mill router simply can't keep up? Don't Don't worry, LightTube has you covered with our internet router service for only $9.95 per month. Get back to what your family loves doing. Call us today at 455-4515 to learn more.
You wanna dance?
Check out Stingray Music on TV. Now available, the new Stingray Music mobile app, free with your TV subscription. Stingray Music, all good vibes.
Welcome back to Talkin Tullahoma. Well, we've covered just about everything, but I want to know what your future plans are besides what's the next step for you? You've made it to the Orioles.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's something that really you got to think about a lot. Each kind of, I guess, check mark in a box you knock out, you got to figure out what's going to replace that. And so I think for me, I'm just really focusing right now on being as good as I possibly can on the field, and then, just off the field, being as good of a husband as I can, as good of a son as I can, and then just a friend to the people around me. I think really, more than anything, that's I think something that you don't want to lose sight of is the relationships you have around you, and then also you want to have goals that you're working towards in a professional setting as well.
That's true. So, I mean, no hitter? You're gonna try.
Hey,
to do
I'll
that?
try. I actually got close to that this year.
Really? When was that?
When we were in Toronto, I made it through 6 no-hit innings, and then in the 7th inning, I gave up a single, and yeah, I think that they were going to probably let me ride it out if I didn't give up that hit. But it was funny, though, because the guy I was pitching against that day, we ended up, we had pitched against each other throughout the minor leagues as well, and he had a no-hitter through 5 innings. So we were, he was a rookie as well, and so we were both, just kind of, I guess, going toe-to-toe with each other in Toronto, so that was a lot of fun.
So some other memorable moments. You got to play against another Tullahoma alumni. I believe he plays for New York.
Yeah, he just got traded to Seattle just recently. But yeah, that was fun. I mean, we were another surreal moment. We were standing in Yankee Stadium looking around just saying, like, how crazy is this? Like, do you remember standing in the outfield at Tullahoma High School talking about how one of these days this is what we wanted? And sure enough, we're standing out there just looking around and just kind of, reflecting on everything. And that was a lot of fun getting to, just enjoy some time there with him. And I got to see his family up there. And then, I mean, Jordan, his brother's not far behind him out with the Dodgers. So I think he's going to be the next Tullahoma guy to make it up.
Pretty soon we'll be able to have a whole team of just Tullahoma alumni.
I hope so. I hope
baseball.
so. That wouldn't be a bad thing at all.
I love me some baseball.
Yeah.
So there was something I was going to ask you about. So when you were on the mound at Babe Ruth as a kid, pitching those pitches, did you ever imagine that you were in a big stadium doing that for a big crowd?
When I was young, I think really when I get on the mound, the only thing that I focus on is just getting the guy in front of me out. I mean, it really just you go into a competitive mode. You
just block all that out?
Yeah, you really do. And so that's the thing that, being up at the big league level or in the minor leagues, because, I mean, we had some games where we would look in the stands and there's like 20 people. And then, you get up to a major league game and you're pitching in front of 20,000 people. But the thing that I think really drives you more than anything is just that competitiveness. And it's a matter of just getting that guy out and not focusing so much on what's around you. And I think even at, the Babe Ruth level, just working my way up as a kid, I think that's what I still tried to focus on is, don't let the bigger stage drive you more than a smaller stage. Just let what's inside you drive you more than anything else. So
I'm sure it was it was hard the first time you got up on the mound to pitch in a Major League Baseball game.
Yeah.
To block all that out. That must have been the jitters. The jitters
Yeah,
were like talking to yourself and saying, I'm back in Tullahoma throwing this ball.
It is an adjustment. I mean, because that's, you're trying to be perfect with every pitch. And so, especially that first game, I'm walking out, just kind of looking around. And then, when I got on the mound, almost like you recognize the guys' names that you're pitching against all of a sudden, and you think that you have to do something different, and you really don't, because what's gotten you to that point is what's going to be good enough to keep you there. And so more than anything, that I learned that right off the bat. My first start, I gave up a 3-run home run to a guy that doesn't even hit home runs in the first inning, and then that was, after that I was able to throw 5 scoreless innings. But I mean, it just kind of, you have to get to the point where you realize, like you said, this is the same that I've always been doing, and the ability and the talent that's been given to me, that's good enough to get me here, and it's good enough to keep me here.
It's not just physical, it's mental too.
Very much so, very much so.
Before we go, let's hear a typical day, because you're getting ready to go to spring break down in Sarasota.
Yep.
Let's hear a typical morning for you.
Yeah, so my day usually will start about 5 or 5:30, depending how well I get out of bed that day. So ideally I'll get up about 5:15, something like that, get cleaned up and head over to the field, get there about 6. And at that point, we'll have breakfast. If there's a workout I need to do that morning, then I'll take care of that. And then we'll have some meetings and stuff throughout the morning usually. And then I would say about 10 o'clock is when we get going out on the field. Maybe a little bit earlier. We have a new coaching staff this year, so this could shift a little bit. But yeah, so we'll get out there about 10. We'll go through our team defense, our work for the day. If you have a bullpen, you'll take care of that. And then games will start up about 2 weeks into spring training. And so up until that point, our days cut off a little bit earlier. But once games start up, we'll be done with everything about probably by noon, to give time to eat lunch and then get ready to go for the game. And then we'll have that game that afternoon, and then we're free for the rest of the evening.
So if someone's on spring break and down in Sarasota, they need to stop in, catch a game.
Yeah. Hey, let me know. I'll be there unless something crazy happens, which I don't think will be the case. But I'll be there, and I'd love to have anybody down there that wants to come.
Well, we'll definitely keep up with you and follow your career.
Absolutely.
It's off to a phenomenal start.
Absolutely.
So I know your parents are really proud.
Yeah.
Your dad was your driver today. He told me how proud he was.
Yeah, I know he's really excited about everything. And
since day one, he said.
Yep.
Well, thank you for coming and doing this today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for speaking in front of what is the group you're speaking in front
of? It's just anybody that wants to come.
Okay.
It's at Cedar Lane Church of Christ. Doors open at 5:30.
Sponsored by the sports league or?
Yeah, this is for the high school. It's a benefit dinner for the high school baseball team. I think that they still have some tickets maybe to sell at the door, and so anybody that wants to come should come out.
If they don't make it tonight, they can still donate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe so, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All righty. We'll see you next time on Talkin Tullahoma.